Okay,
What's up? What are you doing?
the sound thing, like I was literally about to click it to turn down the music, and
Yeah.
then something happened to where it put me to where the soundboard was, and I actually clicked the one that you always hit with Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan.
that's my job.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like as soon as I was ready to click to turn on the music, it pushed down this thing, and I hit the soundboard instead. I'm like, really? Like I was in the perfect spot to turn down the music, but nonetheless, welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're gonna do the Bengals versus Broncos prediction. I don't know. I reflecting off the past game, as horrible as it was, I feel like this game is going to be closer than what most people anticipate.
Okay. I think I'm most people, so.
Oh, so you don't think it's going to be close?
Uh-uh.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Why do you feel that way?
Why do I feel like it won't be close?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking of the Bengals offensive line.
They suck.
The players on that team.
That's it.
Suck.
It's not a good matchup for the Bengals.
Is the Broncos defensive line that dominant this year?
They're good. It doesn't matter.
Well, I don't think the Bengals, like, their offensive line should be better than what they're performing.
Okay.
And
Well, let me put it this way. Based on PFF, of course, I haven't looked at the updated rankings, but based on their rankings, it looks like the Broncos defensive line is maybe not quite as good as the Browns, and then better than the Jaguars.
well, the Browns might have a legit top 5 defense when it's all said and done this year. So I think, yeah, they're probably not going to be as good as the Browns overall. I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, well, first of all, I guess, the Browns, they run a 3-4. The Browns are 4-3, right? They have 2 defensive ends, correct?
No, I think they run a 3-4.
Okay. Well, also, I think that either way, and the way I phrased the question was wrong, because 4-3 and 3-4 both has 2 defensive ends, so ignore that. But their defensive line's front 7 is probably more accurate, is good. They have good corners, and the Bengals offensive line has looked really bad, so that's why I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
Yeah, no.
Also, you have the desperation factor is not on the Bengals side.
You think the Broncos playing desperate is going to be in their favor? I think
Yes.
it's pressure for them.
No, you may be correct, but the way I look at it is I always like the team that needs to win more. I feel like in the NFL that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I don't think the offensive line is as bad as what they've been graded, or they obviously perform bad, and they've been graded fairly accurately based off of what I've seen, right? Or at least my impression. But what I'm getting at is I feel like it's got to be Zach Taylor. It feels like the play calls are way too predictable, whether it's a pass or run. Like, the Bengals offensive players are consistently getting hit in the backfield, whether it's a quarterback or Chase Brown. It seemed like they had more success with Pirine because I guess he's more of a downhill runner, and he feels like he can break more tackles, like at the line of scrimmage. I think where Chase Brown,
well, maybe you're onto something. Maybe it's the play calling, because you've been saying it's the play calling, and I feel like Pirine's like the third down back, so he's usually in there to pass block or to go out. So maybe that's part of it, but I'm not optimistic.
I saw something on Bengals Twitter where it's like they run this motion and they basically do the same play every single time. And it's like as soon as they see that motion, it's like they almost know it's going to be a run based off of the formation. And when they see that motion, and they showed the highlight, or not really a highlight for the Bengals, but it was like the same play over and over. And it just, I get it when.
Well, maybe the Broncos don't know. Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay, I get there's an element where the Bengals have enough playmakers to where you should just be able to run straight up plays. It doesn't matter if the defense knows what it's going to be. They should be able to move the ball because they have that much talent on offense. However, you still have to call plays that keep the defense off balance, right?
Yeah, I agree with what you're
like,
saying, but like there's a difference between like averaging like negative yards per play like before you get hit and like only getting a yard or two. You know what I mean? Like usually if you know what's coming, like a third and short, like a 3rd and 1, that's like the test, right? Everybody knows you're going to run it on 3rd and 1. Can you stop it? Right?
Well, really what I'm getting at is just like he's got to be more creative and create more off balance plays where, you know, and specifically when it comes to running, run downhill. Stop doing that slide the offensive line and do all that stuff. They're not athletic enough to do that shit, and that's why.
Yeah, but my question is like I'm pessimistic. You're optimistic. What's making you optimistic? Because everything you're describing is like that's the team, right?
Well,
like Zach Taylor's calling the plays still, right? They still run those plays. Like what's the optimism?
What's up, Trainwreck? Says Broncos fan. Good pod, guys. I think this game could be closer than what people think. See, that's what I was saying earlier too, because there is an element where the Broncos kind of play down to their level of competition. I would say the Broncos should be favored going into this game because, you know, the Bengals are without Joe Burrow and the Broncos have a pretty solid defense. And on paper, they look like they have the better team, right? But they lost to the Colts. I mean, the Colts are 3-0 right now.
Yeah, the Colts are good.
Well, but I feel like they should have won that Colts game. They kind of let it slip away, and I think the Colts won it at the end.
Yeah, but that was on the road as well. So there's that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get a sense it's going to be one of those kind of ugly games that start out, and then I feel like one of the teams is going to kind of like break out at some point. But I also feel like
describe what you mean by ugly, because when you say ugly, I don't know. I have zero optimism in this game. For me, I'm hopeful that like it's not a total disaster.
Well, ugly is. I could see it where maybe it's going to be more of a defensive game where you're going to see turnovers and maybe the offense struggling a little bit on both sides.
We hope for turnovers on the Broncos side because I think that's the only way that the Bengals stay in is if the Broncos turn the ball over. But I think they know that too, right?
But the reason why I'm optimistic is
yes, get to that part.
We're at the point of the season where Zach Taylor, for whatever reason, turns from a bumpkin and he starts calling better plays, and usually around this time the offense starts breaking out. We do have that pattern, so there is a possibility they can get more production from the offense. I mean, they should, regardless that Browning's playing and he's the backup, but we still have Jamar Chase, we still have T. Higgins, we still have Gesicki, we still have Fant. Well, I'm not sure if he's playing this week, but I didn't see where he wasn't going to play, but I did just see on PFF that I guess he has a head injury.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they have plenty of offensive playmakers, and even Chase Brown. I know he hasn't produced.
I think the Bengals receivers are good, and I think Chase Brown's good. I think Jake Browning's okay for a backup, but again, like the play calling, hey, maybe magically gets better, but I mean the offensive line scares me still. And you have the Broncos who like. There's like the factor of if you're not worried about the other team scoring, then you kind of take your time and don't take risks and wait for them to screw up, right? I mean, if they all season they've struggled to sustain drives, and it's been the pattern for Zach Taylor is like at the beginning of the season, or even when they're good, they're usually like hit or miss on offense. They have a lot of 3 and outs, and then they have a lot of like explosive drives, and then like. Early in the season where Zach Taylor has a terrible record, the Bengals tend to have the lots of 3 and outs and miss the explosive plays, right? But the thing about this year that feels different is that, I mean, the offensive line just seems worse than it's ever been. And I don't know if it's like they've been hedging, right? Like I just feel like they've been trying to get deals on linemen, and they've been like, well, as long as they can pass block, that's good enough for us, right? And
Did
like
you see that AJ McCarron thing? Is that why you're saying that?
No, I didn't see that. What did he say?
That basically the Bengals try to save money by bargain shopping for veterans.
Well, they've always done that,
right?
I mean, look at the offensive line. I mean, like it's.
I mean, to be fair, I think most prominent NFL teams do the same thing. They kind of attract.
Have you seen the Broncos' offensive line? It was really good. They got our guy Miners on it. Remember the guy that was pushing over the trees in the woods? They got like I mean their left tackle is like ranked super high, and their right tackle, I'm pretty sure it was like a high first round pick. I mean, it's crazy to see offensive line where every single guy is like good. There, let me pull it up. I'll show you.
I'm not sure if Trainwreck is still there, but how do you feel about Bo Nix? Because I'm assuming if the PFF score is fairly accurate, feels like he's underperforming by a lot. So I'm not sure how Broncos fans feel, and I'm not even sure who their backup is. I haven't been keeping up too much with the Broncos, but it does feel like they have been underperforming. I guess more specifically on the offensive side.
So look at the Bengals offensive line, right? So you got the 32nd best center in the league, 49th guard, 62nd guard, 45th tackle, 24th tackle, right? You're like, oh, okay, well, Orlando Brown at least is holding his own, right? And then you go to the Broncos offense.
Gregory says they're not worried about Bo. So
look at the offensive line.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice, actually.
I mean, their worst offensive line is McGlinchey, and he's really good.
Yeah.
Their worst offensive lineman is basically the same as the Bengals' best offensive line. This is why I'm worried.
They're just going to
run it.
Should be able to control the line of scrimmage. I mean, based off of the PFF scores, but I still believe the NFL is a week-to-week league, and a lot of things can change drastically. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I could see where this game kind of starts out slow, where it's maybe more on the defensive side, more of a defensive game, and then I could see it breaking out a little bit more in the second half.
Okay.
But I still think I think it's gonna be close. I think they're just gonna score more in the second half. And I kind of feel like it's gonna be one of those games where it's gonna be won by a field goal type thing, or maybe the Bengals get blown out. We'll see. Because it's like if they play like the way they did last week, it'll be very hard for them to keep up with the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're gonna cover. I feel like it's gonna be like a 2-score game.
Really?
Like 10 or 14 is what it feels like to me.
I guess another thing why I guess I'm still pretty optimistic about the Bengals is that I still feel like their defense is ascending a little bit. They're actually, I think the last time I checked, they're ranked like 15th, I think, overall. So that's also a pretty good improvement from last year, but I can see where they can continue to improve because they're starting to play more of their younger players, and I feel like they're only going to get better as the year goes on. So I feel like there still should be an improvement. If Bo has good footwork, he could catch fire, but if he doesn't, he'll give you guys every chance to win. Interesting. Do you feel like he's not like getting down to his like second or third reads? Is he getting kind of like, I guess, hurried in the pocket type deal? Because that's interesting. I mean, it makes sense too, because from what I understand, he had a pretty good last year. I mean, if you look at his stats versus Jaden Daniels, I think technically he had better stats. I mean, he probably didn't run or rush as many yards as Daniels, but I think in terms of passing and like touchdowns, I think he had more passing yards. Or we're only hope is penalties. Hey, yeah, I don't know. I think last week
we could also hope for turnovers. Don't forget about those.
No, I think that's going to be the big key is if the Bengals can try to
Oh, I mean, us not turn it over and then get some turnovers.
Well,
but
specifically their defense, I think they can have a chance for a few more turnovers. They've been doing a pretty good job so far this year of doing that. However, yeah, the offense can't give up the ball 5 times. I mean, that's just 5 fumbles. I mean, that has to be. I'm assuming that had to be a Bengals record. I don't think anyone said anything about that, but to fumble 5 times is, and I guess to lose the ball 5 times, because I think technically they fumbled 6 times or maybe even 7. But I felt like they lost the ball at least 5 times.
Sorry, I'm just lusting after the offensive lineman on the Broncos. Don't
Well,
mind me.
It's their head coach. I mean, that's like he's kind of has that old school philosophy of getting the trenches right. And
Well, I mean, I've said this before, but like Sean Payton's like one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, so I wish we had him. But
you have a backup QB, a crappy O line. That's why Burrow is only available every other year. I mean, yeah, you ain't wrong about that. I think they're going to do some pretty significant things going into next year, for sure. They have to. Like, they have no choice. I
don't know. They make lots of choices. I mean, the thing that upset us or upset me this year is that we picked a linebacker in the second round when we could have gotten the best guard available in the draft, who looked pretty good playing for the Lions over the weekend.
Yeah, his last game looked good, but I think overall, I think Fairchild has graded better overall if you look at the course of the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
But Rivers, I don't think he looked that bad either, and I think he's probably going to start this week.
Yeah, I heard he's going to start, but I mean, I hope he's good.
He looks solid. That's the thing about our offensive line; like they're big, and I notice when we do these run plays, they always have them like try to shift. And it's like just have them block downhill. Just run the ball downhill. Stop trying to shift the line because they're not quick enough or athletic enough against most defensive lines, and they always get through.
I guess, man. I just say don't even bother running the ball. I mean, they can't do it, so why keep trying? They need to figure out ways to get by without running it. Just like quick passes, screens. I mean, if you're going to run it, they got to. I don't know. I don't think downhill is the answer. I think our guys can't block downhill. I think they need to like do sweeps and tosses and.
I don't know. That's what I noticed is like when I was watching the cut-ups of basically the low lights, there wasn't many highlights, and it was just like because I guess they do zone blocking, they have to do like the line kind of shifts a little bit before they start blocking their guy, and every time they try to shift, there's always like a defensive lineman or two that get through because our offensive linemen are not athletic enough to keep up with them. So I just feel like they would have a little. I'm not saying they're going to be great at it, but they would have more success if they just block straight up and downhill and use their like size. Like I just feel like just go downhill. And then, throw in some of those run zones or whatever after, the defensive line is kind of on their back heels, but I haven't seen none of that. It's been consistent over the first 3 games, whether it's a pass or run. It just feels like the defense already knows what's going to happen and there's no hesitation. And whatever they got to do with the play calling to keep the defense a little bit more off balance, they got to figure it out. And hopefully
maybe some shovel passes.
Something.
I don't know. I just think 5 wide.
A little bit behind. No worries. We just appreciate you're here. It's kind of cool to see it from the other fans' perspective too. The Broncos, they're 1-2 right now.
Yeah.
And I think most people feel like they're not playing up to their level, so they probably should have a better record. However,
they lost 2 close road games. They lost by 1 point in Indianapolis and by 3 points in San Diego or LA. So those are both good teams. They're both
the Chargers look really good this year.
So, and then after the Bengals, they've got at the Eagles. So, like, to me, this is like a must win for the Broncos. Like, you want to get to 2-2 before you go to Philly, because you don't want to be like, on a 3-game losing streak heading into another tough road game.
And on the flip side, I feel like it's a must win for the Bengals. I think this is, I know it's pretty early in the season, but I think this is going to at least show us if the Bengals have a playoff caliber team. You got to beat the
Broncos. The schedule does not look easy, that's for sure, because you're at Denver, then you host the Lions, and then you're at Green Bay.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty tough stretch.
Yeah. I don't feel good about any of it.
I don't know. Like, when I rewatched last week's game, it was just the Bengals kept on shooting themselves in the foot with all the turnovers. It's like they had a chance to tie the game. They were driving down the field, turning over the ball. They had a chance to bring it within one score, and then they turn over the ball. And then before the end of the half, they had a chance to bring it within one possession and get the ball back in the third half or the second half, and they fumbled again. And that's when, I forget the defensive player, but he had like 2 returns for a touchdown. One was the forced fumble and recovery, and he picked it back up to get that touchdown, and then he had to pick 6. So, yeah, it's like I feel like it was more of an anomaly. Like, I'm not saying the Bengals are playing great by any means, but I don't think the score was indicative of like how the Bengals are, like how bad or I guess how bad they are. I don't think they're going to lose by double digits throughout the year, or at least I hope they don't. But
okay,
I mean, it's a possibility. It's like, it's early enough to where they can turn things around, or maybe this is just the sign of what's to come. Like this is what it is, but it's still early enough to where they have a chance to turn it around. And I'm going to hold out for hope.
Yeah, I'm glad you have hope, because I feel like the wheels have fallen off. So, like, you've had like this gradual decline of the offensive line kind of accelerating by them not really having the sense of urgency last year or 2 years ago to fix it. And now they're trying to fix it a little bit after the fact.
I think he's getting sped up in his reads. Also, our coach telling everyone Bo is top 5 QB. Probably doesn't help him help him be calm. Yeah, no, it's high expectations, and naturally most quarterbacks, like they tend to have a little bit of a dip in their sophomore year, especially if they have a really strong rookie year, because part of the benefit of like when you're a rookie, a lot of the NFL teams, they don't have that film on you. And then I feel like they have all off seasons to kind of figure out what tendencies the quarterbacks have. And generally there's usually like a dip. But I agree. I feel like, and we kind of said that earlier on the podcast, is that, Eric said that they're going to, what did you say, play with urgency or, but to me, that's like pressure. It's like, yeah, urgency can be a good thing, but
I say desperation, I think is what I said.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like that's still a lot of pressure. And I think that's maybe one thing that the Bengals can benefit from is maybe, hopefully Bo can't handle that pressure, but I don't know. It's Monday night, and I feel like most players, especially in prime time, they're going to want to perform, and he has the ability. I mean, he's got a really good arm, and he seems to be pretty athletic. So I feel like he can extend plays if he needs to. So, if the Bengals can't get consistent pressure on him, which seems to be an issue still with the Bengals, is they don't tend to have consistent pressure. I feel like they've showed signs that they've gotten better, but yeah, if they don't get him or if they don't pressure him, I could see where it could be a long night for the Bengals. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I was just looking at his stats. I mean, it seems like he's been pretty good. I mean, I guess the Chargers game wasn't great in terms of yards, but
I heard overall though, like as a league as a whole, like offensive numbers have actually been down up to this point.
Yeah.
I guess versus I think maybe the last 10 years or something like that. So it could also be a sign, maybe, the defensive have finally catched up to the high powered offenses. But I mean, part of that is just because it has become more of an offensive league. I feel like more teams have really focused on getting like really good pass rushers. And it feels like we're at a point where I just feel like so many teams have really good pass rushing defensive linemen. And there's not as many good offensive linemen to kind of combat that overall as a league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the reason why maybe the offensive have been struggling overall as a whole. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be in Denver, so they're going to have that advantage. Plus Monday night, everyone's going to be excited. So
yeah, it's bad we don't have Andy Dalton.
I mean, for me, at the very least, I just wanted to see it to be competitive and no more 5 fumbles, 5 turnovers.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready for predictions?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
I'll go first. I'm gonna look at the over under. What's the over under? Here we go. Spread 7.5, and the over under is, what does it say? 44.5. So what is that? 37 divided by 2, so it's like 18. So it's saying like 26, 18-ish kind of score. I'm gonna go Broncos 31, Bengals 17.
Wow.
And I don't feel good about the 17.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go something a little bit different.
Okay. Well, I'll get the Who Dey sound ready.
I'm still have faith with Bengals, but I feel like this game is going to tell us a lot, and I feel like it's a very important game for Zach Taylor, because this is really going to determine if this is going to be a playoff caliber team or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't look good at all, then it's just like, especially if they lose, this could hurt them in the long run, because most likely they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot. Be pretty tough to win the division without the starting quarterback, but nonetheless, yeah, I feel like it's going to be pretty close throughout the game, and I feel like it's going to be won by a field goal. So, and I'm going to be a homer. I feel like the Bengals are going to figure it out, and I'm going to say 24-21 Bengals. Live with me now. All right, nice.
Okay,
you're back in the present.
Okay, any of the Broncos fans have any?
Yeah, where do you guys
score? I mean, I assume you guys all think the Broncos are going to win. So, what some reasonable scores?
I think they're all going to be in line with you.
I think they're going to be nicer to the Bengals than I was.
I don't know. We'll see. If the Bengals need a field goal with a minute left, he'll win. Well, let's hope that's the case then. I don't know. At the very least, with it being Monday night, I just hope it's like a fun, competitive game. Nothing like what we saw last week.
Maybe the rest will keep us in it to keep ratings up. We do have that factor going for us.
Yeah, that's true. I would not put it past the NFL. Whose sound clip was that?
Oh, I can't remember. One of the Steelers cornerbacks was complaining about like refs throwing flags and stuff.
Okay.
I don't remember who it is. But all right, well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No. I guess. I did want to mention one thing though. I am going to be going to the Cosm to watch the game, so I might be a little bit delayed for the reaction.
That's fine. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, it'd be pretty late.
It shouldn't take me too long. I mean, worst case scenario, I can have it set up to where you can start it and maybe I can just join it through the phone or something.
Oh, okay. We could try something like that.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. All right. Well, that'll do it for tonight. Peace.